Hey folks, welcome to the channel Rockin' the Country. I'm Don, where I do non-pop country music reactions. So if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. There's a lot to choose from of the reactions that I've done in the past 8 years. So but we are on a mission here on the channel. I, as well as many of the folks here, are on a mission sort of to maintain and resurrect or have a resurgence of traditional country music, even if it's neo-traditional like Mo Pitney and other artists who have these traditional, Zach Top sensibilities to traditional music. Anyway, Eliyahs Romans made a gift to the channel for me to do this song of Dottie West's, and it's Paper Mansions. I don't know this song, so we're just going to get into this thing. So Eliyahs, thank you for this gift, my friend. And Eliyahs made 4 gifts to the channel for me to do 4 songs, and this is the 4th of the 4. So I did 1 a day. Let me put my headphones on and get to it. Paper Mansions. God, I can't even imagine what that would refer to. All right, here we go.
Don't build for me. No paper mansions that only stand until you've gone. You paint the nicest futures of anyone I know.
Feel that
You
bass?
always leave me holding on to pretty words that glow. You build 1,000 mansions out of dreams that seem so strong, but they're always made of paper, not of stone. Don't be
My friend, I have a friend, Billy Falcon. He's down in Nashville. I've known him for a while. His daughter Rose is married to Rodney Atkins, but Billy wrote us. He had an album, and Billy is a phenomenal songwriter in his own right, extraordinarily successful one at that. But Letters from a Paper Ship, and Billy is an amazing lyricist as well. But this reminds me of that. Paper Mansions. Paper ships, things made of paper tend to blow away pretty easily.
For me, no paper mansions
Just backing.
that I can never call my own. For love can't live in paper mansions that only stand until you've gone.
There's that piano in poignant songs that shows up a lot.
You've always been a dreamer, dear, and I'm a dreamer too. But I
Nice.
guess I've had too many of the kind that don't come true.
Oh.
So don't build me no mansion with paper walls so thin that only stand until you leave again.
Now where does he go?
Don't build for me. No paper mansions that I can never call my own. For love can't live in paper mansions that only stand until you've gone.
You know, there are songs that are like informational. They're more from the perspective of explaining life or explaining some dynamic of life. There are other songs that are written just from personal experience. You get the first person reference, I this, I that. This was a combination of the two, but it was really more about life, not from a personal experience. Now, she may have experienced this, the false promises, or, a guy, guys who speak all these great, great words. But, honesty really, I don't want to say honesty is the best. Honesty is the best policy, so to speak, or best way of doing things. Full disclosure is a fool's way of going through life, though. And I think that's what that the verse in Proverbs where it says, "A fool utters all his mind," or her mind. A fool utters all his mind. Yeah, don't say everything you're thinking. Full disclosure is idiotic, right? Because we all have dumb thoughts. We all have discordant thoughts. We have beautiful thoughts, horrible thoughts. But honesty in the sense of don't promise stuff you're not going to deliver. When you get older, you're better at that. I've said this on other videos. Like when you get divorced, and then if you start dating again after a divorce or a horrible breakup, unlike in your teens and 20s where you lead with your best foot and you want to show your best side and all this sort of stuff, after you go through another 20 or 30 years of life and that ends in a divorce, those 20 or 30 additional years end in divorce, and you're on the dating scene again, you get more honest. You lead with your worst foot. That's how I word it. I just say, look, you're more open and honest about the stuff that you realize that doesn't work about yourself, that partly contributed to or greatly to the divorce. Now, when you're in the dating scene, you're like, look, here's some of my shit you're going to have to live with. And she fell victim in her early years. Evidently, this would be written from a younger perspective, generally. Even though older guys, I guess, can be full of crap, I just can't relate to it. I just can't. I don't know. I mean, we're all going to be dead one day. I mean, what's the point of going through life with some perspective that's not true? I don't know. Maybe that's why I read nonfiction books exclusively. I'm not a fiction fan. Maybe they're consistent, but in a song like this, she'd gotten torched. Don't promise me stuff. I've gotten burned before, but I trust. That's one thing that con men prey on, and that's a consistent theme. Whether you're reading books about con men who've pulled off cons and frauds and all this stuff, or watched some kind of documentary or something, is they play on people's trust. Because we're socially oriented, we have this element of trust. We trust other people. We want to have good relationships with people. And some people are really good at playing on others' trusts. And so in this song, she was at the point where don't do this. Just don't do it. When you leave. But we got no details in the song. None. And we didn't know about him, his name, their relationship. How far along were they in this relationship? Was it their first date? Was it a Tinder date or whatever they do now? Match.com or whatever the websites are? I don't go on them. But that you're investigating somebody and now you're like, look, here's what I want. Right? I don't want to go through a happy horse crap in life. What I want is truth, honesty, and a guy who's real. Don't promise me stuff you can't deliver. I don't need that. I'd rather live in a 2-bedroom tiny ranch than some big mansion that you're going to promise me. Plus, when you get older, you realize that smaller is better because bigger things need maintenance, upkeep, taxation, all this sort of stuff. So, Elias, I don't know if you expected all that type of commentary, but that's how I roll. I shoot from the cuff. I don't know these songs, so they engender thoughts. But the old style, I mean, I loved her voice and all that. When they brought in the backing and the harmonies, and I wonder, like, if a contemporary music class would listen to a song like this, how the song itself would get broken down instrumentally and how it would correlate to today. Because you do have similar relationships between the bass and the drum that were in songs then as exists now. There is this idea of backing. We're just bringing in the backing vocalist to sing part of the chorus, not the whole thing. And that happens in songs today. So I love seeing the similarities. All right, I'll rate this song, and the number that popped into my head was an 8.7. It really was an informational song. I wouldn't put this in the premarital counseling playlist because if you're already on your way to getting married, you're too far gone to understand this or see this anyway. You're probably past the vulnerability in that part. But yeah, it's Dottie West, old time traditional country. All right, guys, you can thank Eliyahs Romans for that. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Keep rocking the country.